Nature can be even crazier than the wildest stories you can imagine. Some plant species look totally bizarre and they're super rare or have just been discovered. So stick around till the end of the video as we explore some of the weirdest plant species out there. Let's get started. Number 1. The baseball plant. Yep, you heard that right. It looks just like a baseball. This plant can grow up to about 20 centimeters tall. It's super rare and unique, which is why it's heavily protected. But as cool as it looks, it's toxic. So if you touch it, it can cause some serious skin issues. That's why you gotta admire it from a safe distance. Crazy, huh? Next up, we have plant number 2, the Lithops plant. These guys are so cool because they look just like tiny stones. That's why a lot of experts call them living stones. These beautiful Lithops plants usually grow in South Africa, especially during the rainy season. But if you take good care of them, they can live for over 50 years. Can you believe that? It's like having a little stone buddy for half a century. All right, let's talk about plant number 3, the Mimosa Pudika. This little guy is native to South America, and it's often called the sensitive plant or the touch-me-not plant because when you touch its leaves, they immediately fold up, and after a while, they reopen. Now, here's the fascinating part. Scientists have discovered that Mimosa Pudika plants have learning and memory abilities, just like animals. Isn't that mind-blowing? It goes to show that nature is full of surprises. Number 4, the corpse flower. This plant is seriously stinky. It blooms only once every 40 years and releases a smell that's just like a rotting corpse. Because of its stench, a lot of people steer clear of it, especially when it's blooming. The corpse flower is super rare and is usually kept in protected areas. Imagine stumbling upon one of these in the wild. It's definitely an unforgettable experience. Number 5, the Rafia Arnoldi. When it comes to size, this plant takes the crown as the largest flower in the world. You can find this gigantic flower in the forests of Sumatra. Just like the corpse flower, it stinks. Yeah, it gives off a really bad smell. In 1993, Indonesia officially recognized the Rafia Arnoldi as its national rare flower. This plant can grow horizontally up to over 90 centimeters. That's big enough for a baby to crawl inside and take a nap. Plant number 6 is a real carnivorous beast, the rat-eating pitcher plant, also known as Nepenthes. Discovered in 2009, this plant is probably the biggest meat eater in the world. Yep, it can even digest desert rats. So, how does it catch its prey? Well, it lures insects with sweet nectar around its pitcher and mouth. Once an insect lands on the lid of the pitcher, it starts to slide down, guided by these hair-like structures. After a wild ride, the insect ends up trapped in the water at the bottom of the pitcher. This plant is known as one of the rarest plants in the world. It's like something out of a sci-fi movie, right? Let's talk about plant number 7, the dancing plant. Just like the Mimosa Pudika, this plant is super sensitive to touch. When you touch its leaves, they start swaying like they're dancing. But here's where it gets even cooler. This amazing plant reacts to smells, light, music, and even loud noises. And when the sun sets, the leaf movements stop. It's like they take a break until the next day. Number 8, the Hideora African. The first thing that stands out about this plant is how scary it looks. It's like a monster with its head poking out of the ground, looking like a sea snake ready to snap at anything that comes close. But this plant also stinks. Yep, it gives off a really awful smell, kind of like poop. That smell is what attracts beetles, flies, and other insects to it. Next plant is the cycad. It's a rare plant, often used as an ornamental plant in garden landscapes, and it can grow up to 20 meters tall. Its leaves look a lot like those of a palm tree. You can find this plant in southern Africa, where it seems to be slowly disappearing. It's sad to see such a beautiful plant at risk of extinction. Number 10. The dead horse Arum lily. This flower is also one of the rarest plants in the world, mostly found in the Mediterranean region. It truly smells like a dead horse, making it hard to stand near. This stinky smell attracts flies and various insects, which the flower then feeds on. Researchers even believe that this flower can easily kill small animals. It's really amazing how nature works. Plant number 11 is the Witchia Mirabilis. This plant has incredibly tough stems and leaves, and it's known as the national flower of Namibia. Believe it or not, this plant can live for up to 1,500 years. Its appearance is quite unique, resembling the giant legs of a huge creature. It's discovered. For the first time in 1859 in Angola, the Witchia mirabilis is found in regions where rainfall is very rare. In such harsh conditions, plants need to adapt to survive, and this one does it by coping well with dry environments. You'll typically find this plant in areas with underground water sources, and it's got long roots that are great at absorbing and lifting up that underground water. The next is Bobab. This tree is probably one of the most astonishing plants ever discovered. There are around 8 different species of Bobab trees, and they're found in Madagascar. Due to its unique shape, it's often called the bottle tree. These trees can live for over 500 years. But here's the mind-blowing part. A Bobab tree can store around 300 liters of water inside it. Well, I don't think this one gets thirsty. Let's talk about plant number 13, the Dracaena cinnabari. This beautiful tree grows in the islands of Yemen. Its shape resembles a large mushroom, and when the trunk and branches of this tree are damaged, they produce a red resin, which gives the tree its name. The resin produced by this tree is used for treating diarrhea, bleeding, stomach swelling, and fever. Number 14. The Amorphofalis. This plant is found in Southeast Asia, and while its stem and flower smell really bad, its root is edible and widely used in cooking and medicinal purposes. Plant number 15. The Venus flytrap. This flower is native to South Carolina, and it's a carnivorous plant that attracts and traps small insects to feed on them. It often grows in soils low in nitrogen, so it hunts insects to make up for the nitrogen it needs. When an insect or a spider moves on the leaves and tiny hairs of this plant, if it doesn't escape within 20 seconds of the first touch, the plant traps it. Nature's way of survival is truly fascinating, isn't it? If you're enjoying the video, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button and subscribe for more content like this.